Well, we really have four real hot-button issues right now that are gripping this country when you think about it. You've got the pushback on health care, Arizona's immigration law, plans for a mosque near Ground Zero that have got nationwide interest, and same-sex marriage, the Prop 8 decision coming out of California. Now, all of them have one common link, according to our next guest. He says the government that Americans elect to represent them is simply not doing that. It's not following the will of the people. Hugh Hewitt is a radio talk show host, and he joins me now. Hugh, welcome. Good to see you.
Hi, Martha. Good
Hi
to
there.
see you.
You know, you say that this is all coming to a head, and you expect a very big showdown based on the disgruntlement and dissatisfaction with all these issues that people across the country are feeling. A showdown in November.
Yeah, a U-turn election, Martha. I believe as people step back from each of those particular issues, that which connects them all is the fact that small, extremely liberal elites are driving the country far to the left of where the majority are, where the mainstream are, and not only doing that, but also employing the kind of rhetoric of scorn of majorities of Americans that make them angry at their elected officials who are not listening. Prop 8 is one liberal judge up in San Francisco deciding that 2,000 years of Western civilization doesn't matter. Mayor Bloomberg insults Americans opposed to the Ground Zero Mosque as being anti-American, as being against the Constitution. You've got 600,000 voters in Missouri saying no to Obamacare. You've got but no reaction from the White House. Robert Gibbs dismissing that. And then you've got the decision of President Obama to sue Arizona over border security. Had to laugh a little bit earlier, Martha. You announced on the news that Chuck Schumer's coming out for border security today. He must be reading his polls. All this is going to add up to an enormous...
Yep. Yeah, you know what, Hugh? I think that's a really good point that you're bringing up, because my next question to you was going to be, either folks are going to start to figure this out if they want to save their you-know-whats in the election season in November, or they're going to sort of obstinately continue to ignore these issues, and they're going to get thrown out. And maybe Chuck Schumer is looking at the polls and changing his mind about a few things.
Oh, I think Chuck Schumer is scared to death that he's going to survive in New York, perhaps, but that he's going to come back to a completely shrunken Democratic majority, if not a 50-50 Senate. I think you're going to see a Republican take President Obama's Senate seat. Mark Kirk's going to win in Illinois. I think you're going to see a Republican take Joe Biden's Senate seat in Delaware. I think you're going to see Speaker Pelosi thrown out, because the American people will not be treated as cultural serfs. They will not be treated as morons. And the idea that the economy is getting better and we can increase taxes on people, you just talked to Stuart just minutes ago, unemployment's skyrocketing again, and the American people can't be talked to like they're morons.
You know what, you're tapping into something that I think is very essential to this conversation, and you talk about people being made to feel like they're morons, and a lot of folks listened to Mayor Bloomberg the other day about the mosque situation, and his tone was clearly that if you don't understand why you need to be religiously tolerant and allow this mosque, then you're just not getting it. You're not enlightened somehow. You don't understand Martha, the American way. You know, that's what people are being told, and that may be what you're tapping into here.
You nailed it, because millions and millions of Americans consider themselves to be, and are in fact, completely liberal when it comes to religious tolerance. They just don't want a mosque near Ground Zero any more than they want a shopping center next to the Manassas battlefield, any more than they want commercialization next to the Pearl Harbor Memorial to the Arizona. And if you go out to the Prop 8 decision, the vast majority of people who want marriage to be retained between a man and a woman are very much not anti-gay, and they resent greatly when those defenders of that decision, which is really, it's very, very thinly argued. It's like putting 4 parkas on Mick Jagger. He's still skinny and he's still outrageous, and that decision is skinny and outrageous. And they don't want to be called bigots. All of that is fueling what you had a preview. Missouri was a preview of coming attractions in November. Missouri was a shot heard around the world, and Chuck Schumer announced today, come out, that's so funny. Chuck Schumer coming out for border security is like me coming out for tax hikes. It's like Ronald Reagan saying, keep the Berlin Wall. Wow. It is a complete and utter improvisation fueled by fear on his part.
Well, you know, coming up, we're going to talk to somebody who thinks that the Missouri vote is no big deal, and that folks like you are blowing it out of proportion. So we'll get that side of the story in here as well. Hugh Hewitt, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Martha. Good to be here.